Hello, so in this lesson, we are going to learn sculpting in Blender. Uh, and so if you've ever heard of ZBrush or any of those other digital sculpting tools, Blender also has some digital sculpting. So it's kind of like clay. There are some things about it that make it not exactly like clay, but it can, for the most part, act like clay. So we'll go ahead. I've opened up a new Blender file here, and I'm just going to go here to sculpting. And once we're in here, we can see that we have a ball in the middle. And if I were to, first thing, if you're using a tablet, that would be a good idea. I want to turn on my symmetry here, which is X, and I'm using my tablet. I can see here that when I put my cursor on, I can see that I have this area here and then a blue dot on the other side. That indicates that my symmetry is on. I can also look at directly at the front. I could see it. But I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and just draw right on it, and we can see right away we are adding to it simply by drawing on it. So that's good. If I use shift, remember I can, or I use my middle mouse button, I can click and drag, and I can then rotate. Or I've set my, I'm using a pin in my display tablet. I'm setting it so that when I push the button on my pin, that acts as the middle mouse button. Oh, that put on radius and strength. Okay, so cool. Shift, of course, and the middle mouse button will pan. So very good. Let's take away. That was Control, I believe, or Command on a Mac will take away. There we go. So that'll take away. Just drawing on it will add to it. Shift will smooth it out. Shift will smooth. So very cool. I can start drawing some things on here. I can start making, let's see if I'm doing Control to dig in. Let's see, I'm going to do undo some of these. But if I do Control, that was a Command Z, or Command, yeah, there we go. Set my symmetry and Control or Command to dig in, make some eye sockets, maybe make a mouth, maybe make a nose, right? Maybe I want to look around it, maybe at the side view. Maybe I want to shape this more like a head. So I can use, say, the grab brush here. And if I want to change my brush size, that is F. I click F and I click and drag, and that'll change my brush size. The grab brush, I can then start to pull things around and shape this head. I can pull down here for a chin. I'm going to use my middle mouse button to click and drag to look from the side. And I'm going to look from this view. I can also click on X here to get a good side view. I think on our number pad we had numbers that are also set up. And I can then start to move things to where this head is there we go. I'll click F and make this smaller. And maybe I want my eyes like this. Maybe I want F and a little bit bigger, and I'll pull this. Maybe I want my L this lower, and F, move this. F, change my brush size. Let's try this more. Okay, now I'm going to look from the side, and I'm going to pull this mouth here. And maybe I want to pull so I'm just kind of, and you can look at images of the face to see how this would form. But I kind of want like my nose to stick out here, my chin to go over here. There's my forehead. Okay, there we go. Let's look again from the front. And F, I'll make this bigger and bring this down. What if I want to, I'm going to pull out from the bottom here and start to pull out the neck. And as I pull it, maybe I want to make a body from it. Maybe I just want to make a neck, and then I can make my body a separate piece. But you start to see some things here. We start to see some of this pulling and stretching. If we're going to make a whole body, use my middle mouse wheel to scroll out. If I want to make it like a whole body and I pull this out, and then I start going F and bringing this smaller, and I try to pull, say, some arms out the side, look at this. All of a sudden, it's not acting like clay anymore. All of a sudden, it starts acting like cards falling apart, right? Command Z or Control Z to undo that, and undo that too. So if I click here and I go into, say, my wireframe mode, I can get a good look at what's going on. Now, this is a pretty dense wireframe, but we can see that it's made up of this stretching here, right? We have if we look at the rest of it, it's got these pretty close squares, but here they are all stretched out. So when we pull on the sides, we're pulling on these long strings, these long wires, this wireframe. And that's why it acts that way, right? But fear not, there is a way around that. All right, so what is that way? If I go up here to where it says remesh, and I can look at my voxel size and say I can change that. I can change my adaptivity. But what do these numbers really mean? And then we can click remesh. It'll remesh it. Let's take a look and just click R on your keyboard, R. And here we see at 0.0355 millimeters, that how dense these squares will be. This is going to remesh it, and these squares will be this close together. And maybe that's good. Maybe we want it a little bit further apart. Maybe we want something like this. Okay, so I clicked on it. It didn't do anything. But if I do a Control R or Command R, all of a sudden we see it's remeshed it. Now it's made it a lot more pixely in the face. And I can handle that. Or I can do a Command Z, Control Z to undo that. I could do another R and I could see that, okay, that's 0.05. That's a little too loosey-goosey. So maybe I'll tighten it up with 0.02 or yeah, right? And then I'll do a Command or Control R and that'll remesh it. Okay, so this is pretty good. It's not as smooth as it was before, but that's okay. I can deal with this. I'm not putting any details in. Nothing's disappearing. I can pull these out and down and across and down. And again, I can do another Control R or Command R, and that will remesh it, right? I can pull these out, and look at that. It's remeshed, but it's pretty thin. So what can we use that, say, can, blow that up? Well, look over here on our left. We have the inflate brush, shortcut I. I can hit F to make my brush size bigger, and I can go ahead and blow this up. And so as I'm doing it, I want to make sure that my torso is kind of the thickest of all, right? My arms start out bigger as they are closer to the torso and get thinner as they go out to the wrists. Same with my legs. Thicker towards the pelvis. And I'll do another Control R to remesh. Thinner towards the ankle. Maybe I'll smooth these out. Switch back to draw and smooth. I'll hold do a Control R and smooth these out. Sometimes you have to do Control R a few times. There we go. Control R. And then Shift to smooth. There we go. Use grab. I'll click F. Pull this up. So pull this down our torso. Use Shift and my middle mouse button. And let's see, I want to zoom out a little bit. Let me look from the side. And blow up the bottom. Let's see. Grab. And I'm going to pull on my foot. And I see how I do this. I move like to the front and I start to put this in position. Looking from the front. And then I move over to the side and I look at it. How do we look from the side at this point? Right? I'm taking advantage of at least 2 dimensions. Of course, this is 3D. So let's say I want to look from the top, right? I want to look from my side view, and I'll go ahead and click this negative X, and we can see the grid, and I can see how far off my character is. So I can click F, and I can start pulling this over. And, you know, now is not the time for me to be precious with everything. I'm pulling it, and I'm not worried about if I ruin it. I don't care. The trick here is I'm getting things in proportion, I'm getting them in the place that they need to be, and then I'll fix everything later. And that's a common thing you're going to find with this digital sculpting thing is you're going to do stuff to it, it's going to look kind of bad at first, and that's on its way to all of a sudden making it look good, right? So I'm going to click inflate, and I'll click F. I'm going to make my brush size smaller, and I'm going to inflate my feet because they're kind of starting to get thin and small, and look at them. They literally look not very good, right? I can smooth them. I can do shift, that'll smooth. And I could do a control R, that'll remesh them and smooth, right? I'm going to move these, F. And F again. All right, there we go. F, I'll click F. I'm going to make this bigger. I want to pull out the front of my, well, here, we'll do this. I'll look from the front and I'll click my regular draw brush here on the top left. And I know that the front of my thighs, I want to come forward. Here, I'll look again from the side. That's a little too far forward, but I don't care. Back of my calves, I want to go back. And this is, and here we'll do a little bit more here. On the back of the thigh, that's okay. Okay, I'll do a grab again. We'll pull out the butt. All right. I'm going to look at arm. And remember, Control R as well. Arm, I'm going to do draw for the top, for the shoulders. Do one for the elbow. Do one for the triceps. Maybe get a little bit of forearm. So I got a lump up here, lump down here in the forearm. All right. I'm going to start using grab, and I'm going to pull out make this flat for my hand. All right. So that's what we got. I pulled this out. If you wanted to add some things, if you didn't want parts to be attached to it, you know, like, and we'll do that. We'll do that in the next one. We'll add some things, like fingers. Right now we won't do fingers, but this is what I got. So Let's go ahead and do a file, save as. And I will call this my last name, underscore body sculpt dot blend, and I will click save as. And yours may not look like mine. That's okay. Yours might not even look human. That's okay. Save as, there we go. Turn that in. We also want to do a some sort of screenshot or a render. I could even do a, let's see if I do a render image. What's that look like? Let's see that. Let's see. I'll go back into no, this is only view. I can go into object mode. Here I can see my camera, and I can move my camera, move it back, move it this way. All right, maybe try render image. Render image. Way off. Okay, let's do pull this back. Render image. Or you could do a screenshot if it's not working for you. I don't care. It don't matter to me. Render image. Maybe I want to bring my light here in front. Render image. It's this way. All right, there we have it. I got a pretty good, I got some lighting on there. It's not necessarily 3-point lighting, but it's lit up enough. I could also do a screenshot, but this is good enough. And I can go to image, save as, or save a copy. Give it a name, my last name, underscore body, underscore sculpt dot PNG, so that I can turn that in for my discussion board, and so on. So that's what I have. Again, be easy on yourself. You know, if you're still learning this thing, you're still getting used to it. I've been doing this stuff for a while. So don't look at what you've got. And a lot of times I have to go through and make things look really bad before I can make them look good. Okay? So have fun with it. And I look forward to seeing what you guys make.